To you, here is the news at 4. First, the highlights. Last month, inducts Lagos Traffic Radio's General Manager Tayo Akonle as Special Traffic Mayor. Over 211,000 candidates sit for 2025 UTME mock examinations as JAMB warns against malpractices. On the foreign scene, Zimbabwe makes first compensation payments to white farmers over land seizures. And in sports, South Africa unveils final squad ahead on the 20 AFCON clashes against Nigeria, Egypt, Morocco. And now, the details. I am Akan Usen. The general manager of Lagos Traffic Radio, Tayo Akonle, has been inducted as a special traffic mayor of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, making him the first head of government agency to be inducted into the corps. LASMA's general manager, Olalekan Bakarioki, said the induction is to recognize the ongoing contributions of Akonle and Lagos Traffic Radio to transportation advocacy and road safety. Bakarioki was represented by the director in charge of advocacy and special traffic mayor department in LASMA, Jimmy Abuyemi. The LASMA boss emphasized the importance of collaborations from key stakeholders, including permanent secretaries, heads of government agencies, and parastatals, well-meaning individuals in assisting government to ensure effective traffic management and control, and serve as the eyes and ears of government across the state, providing real-time updates on officers' conduct, road users, and traffic situations.
Traffic management in the state is not something that the agency can single-handedly carry out. We need every hands, we need every support and cooperation, and most importantly, traffic radio has been rendering this support, and that is why we find it very, very necessary, and we carry out the induction for the general manager, and by extension to carry other members of staff along to assist LASMA in improving in its performance of traffic management within the state.
In his remarks, the general manager of Lagos Traffic Radio, Tayo Akonle, acknowledged the honor bestowed on him and the station, which he said will spur him and the entire members of staff of the organization to do more in supporting the state government's bid to make the roads safer for all road users, in line with the Thieves Plus agenda of the Babajide Sanwo-Olu administration. Akonle hinted that the station provides travel advisories on other modes of transportation, including the waterways, rails, and airways, leveraging technology and its online presence. He also made a passionate appeal to LASMA's leadership to consider inducting more people into the program, especially people within the station who have spent over a decade helping Lagosians plan their journey daily, hence giving them leadership roles which will deepen their commitments to ensuring a traffic-free Lagos. The general manager also called for greater public-private synergy in traffic management, promising that with better communication, swift enforcement, and public involvement, Lagos roads will be safer and more efficient for all.
This is a call to do more work for myself and for the agency. I am taking this induction, this mayorship, on behalf of this agency, believing that this will reflect, even as they move on from one point to the other in Lagos. It's not only that when they are wearing this mayorship gown that they can talk about traffic on the road, but I want to challenge them to let this garment reflect on the attitude, not only here, but on the road as they move on.
The high point of the brief ceremony was the induction and decoration of the general manager with special mayor uniform and handing over of the manual, popularly called the Holy Book, which covers everything from the origins of the LASMA Mayor initiative to the functions of special traffic mayors and the legal framework surrounding traffic laws in the state. The manual also contains a comprehensive directory of zonal formations with official contact numbers designed to improve response time during traffic incidents. Lagos State government has commenced remedial measures by setting up a pumping station at Adeniji Adele Underbridge to pump out storm water in Aroloya streets, Ojogiwa, Binuyo, Oroyiyin, and other areas in Lagos Island following the flooding of the areas due to ongoing constructions. Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, said the measure will provide relief to the residents and business owners who have been affected. Wahab also said the flooding was caused by temporary blockage of the drainage channels in the area as a result of the ongoing constructions, which is part of the total regeneration of Lagos Island. He appealed to the business owners and residents to please bear with the state government on a temporary basis, as the construction is part of the total regeneration process. The commissioner said the construction will be completed in a very short time, urging stakeholders to contribute to the success of the project by properly disposing of their waste, according to guidelines set by Lagos State government. The House of Representatives Committee on Customs and Excise is set to launch an investigation into the activities of terminal operators over delay in clearance of goods at the nation's premier port, Apapa. The committee said it is unfortunate that rather than enhance revenue generation efforts of the government, terminal operators are rather hampering revenue generation with unnecessary delays, deliberately creating gridlock at the ports. Chairman of the committee, Leke Abejide, who spoke during an oversight visit to the Apapa Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service, said the operators are not living to the tenets of a concession agreement they entered with the Nigerian government. Abejide stressed that the implementation of the 4% free on-board collection by the service was suspended to allow for further stakeholders' engagement and enlightenment before the full takeoff. And now, to the rest of the stories. No fewer than 211,000 candidates have sat for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination mock exam conducted by the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAMB, across designated computer-based tests in the country. JAMB Registrar Ishak Oloyede, who stated this while monitoring the exam at a CBT center in Buari, Abuja, said the results of the mock examinations will be released on Friday. Explaining the purpose of the UTME mock, Oloyede said the exercise was aimed at testing the board's readiness for the main examination and experimenting with new strategies to improve the process. The registrar, who said the only way to pass UTME is by studying hard, expressed concerns that some candidates are patronizing rogue websites in order to cheat in the exam, noting that JAMB has also opened a decoy website targeting such individuals. He said about 180 students have paid into the account looking for questions, adding that JAMB will cancel their results, both Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations and Direct Entry. The 2025 UTME is scheduled to commence on April 25 at approved CBT centers across the country. The federal government has inaugurated a National Community Engagement Framework Drafting Committee, describing the body as a critical vehicle for bringing federal policies closer to grassroots communities across the country. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement Northwest, Abdullahi Yakasai, made this known at a brief ceremony held at the State House, Abuja. Yakasai said the Framework Drafting Committee embodies the spirit of partnership and collective action, ensuring that progress is shared responsibility. On a part, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement North Central, Abiodun Eshiet, said the framework will serve as a blueprint for action to ensure that no citizen feels excluded from national decision-making. Eshiet urged civil society and private sector to act as bridges between policy and people, stressing that the task goes beyond representation to inspiring trust and driving impact. And now to foreign news. Zimbabwe's government has announced an initial payout of $3 million to white farmers whose farms were seized under a controversial government program more than 2 decades ago. It is the first payment to be made under the 2020 compensation agreement signed between the state and the local white farmers, in which Zimbabwe committed to pay $3.5 billion for seized farmland. Thousands of white farmers were forced from their land, often violently, between 2000 and 2001 in a series of seizures which were meant to redress colonial-era land grabs but contributed to the country's economic decline and ruin relations with the West. The payment announced on Wednesday will cover the first 378 farms out of a total of 740 for which compensation has been approved. Finance Minister Mtuli Nkube said it represents 1% of the total $311 million allocated for the first batch of payments, adding that the remaining will be paid through US dollar-denominated treasury bonds. And now sports. South Africa has unveiled a 21-man final squad ahead of this year's Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. The final squad was announced by South Africa's Football Association via its official X handle. South Africa will take on Nigeria's Flying Eagles, hosts Egypt and Morocco in Group B. This year's Under-20 AFCON will run from the 27th of April to 18th of May. The 4 semi-finalists at this year's tournament will qualify for the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile. And that's all for the news at 4. Always obey road signs and traffic lights. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms on X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. On YouTube, subscribe and watch us live on our channel Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website on www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration trained 500 unemployed youths in soft skills and job interview program? You can get more details on the Lagos State government's website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. The general manager of Lagos Traffic Radio, Tayo Akonle, has been inducted as a special traffic mayor of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, making him the first head of a government agency to be inducted into the corps. No fewer than 211,000 candidates have sat for the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination mock exam conducted by the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAM, across designated computer-based testing centers in the country. We also told you that Zimbabwe's government has announced an initial payout of the $3 million to white farmers whose farms were seized under a controversial government program more than 2 decades ago. And in sports, South Africa has unveiled a 21-man final squad ahead of this year's Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. For contact with the newsroom, please send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. And that ends the news broadcast compiled by Adewale Oluwokboroku. I am Akan Usen. Thanks for listening and please stay safe. Good afternoon.